Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. It is Friday, May the 1st, 2026, and we are well into the year, and the things that we are working on, well, they're piling up all around us. And you can see, because we're covering a lot of ground, we've got a lot of projects on the go. We're going to have a very special briefing today. It's a briefing style that some of you may be familiar with. Sometimes when we start touching on so many different categories of action items, or maybe we're bringing a whole bunch of new information to you, we like to every once in a while take a pause and then run through a list of everything, and we produce what's called the Two Quick Things briefing, which means what I'm going to do today is on the agenda is I'm going to go through a whole bunch of different action items, and we're going to be referring to things that we've talked about in the past. And I'm going to be referring to them, and I'm going to remind you of two quick things that you can do right away. If the item pertains to you and where you're called to be, then you can do two quick things that are manageable in your hands to get you moving forward in action towards a goal that we'd like to achieve together here on the briefing from all across Canada. Because you and I both know that if all of us are doing the same thing at the same time, and there's this critical mass of action that takes place, we have greater influence. And so coming on the briefing here today, what you've done is you've actually picked probably one of the funnest briefings to be on, because if you're one of those like ADHD guys like me, or maybe maybe you got like a little bit of a short attention span, you like things moving quick, well, we're going to change the channel every few minutes on the briefing today, because we're going to just keep going from thing to thing to thing to thing. All right, now for those of you who have not been on the briefing though, what I'm going to do for you first is I'm actually going to pre-qualify you. Now, that doesn't mean to exclude you. If you've never been on the briefing before, if you and I aren't aligned, if we don't share the same views and values, if we don't see the world through the same lens or the same worldview or from the same worldview, you're probably not going to have a good time today. So I can release you to go and pursue other activities with your time. And so we're going to pre-qualify you today before we get started by going over the rally points that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing. What they are is they are Christian principles that are expressed in the form of pillars. They're the things that we believe in, and I'm going to share those with you now. And if you don't go, yeah, that's me, like you're basically talking about me, if these are not your thoughts in your own head, then again, you can just release yourself. And I mean, we can part friends. There's no big deal. I'm okay with it, and you can do the things that you want to do. Well, here it is. Let me run a couple of things through past here. First of all, this comes out of a series of surveys that we took back in 2016. What we did was we actually surveyed the people that we serve in the church, and we said, what's important to you? And we wanted to find out. And so the first thing that was of the greatest importance to the people that we serve in the church in Canada is that they believe that parents have the right to raise their children the way that they want. So we serve a lot of Christian families, and their perspective is, and their heart's desire is that they are the decision makers about what is presented to their children, taught to their children, how their children are raised, the things that they eat, the schools that they go to. All of those decisions are decisions of parents. So parents have the right to raise their children the way that they want. Now, if that kind of checks the box for you, hey, we just might be in relationship or on the way to being in relationship. The second pillar, or the thing that was most important to the people that we serve, is that they believe that those we elect to serve us in civil government. So when, in other words, if I'm going to vote for somebody and they get elected to office and they are now my representative in government, we believe that those that we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. So it's not good enough. You notice I said must respect and defend. So it's not good enough that they just pat you on the head every now and again as your MLA and as your MP and say, isn't that nice? Of course, I respect your right of belief and freedom of religion. No. We expect them to rise up in even at times needing to be in a warfare posture to defend our right of belief and freedom of religion, which we have not seen out of some of the more, well, let's call them weak-spined, or well, I won't call them spineless. Maybe they've got that jellyfish spine and they don't really stand up firm and strong in defense of freedom of religion or our right to believe what we believe. So we expect that out of all of our elected representatives. So if that sounds good for you, then hey, that's a good place to be right now here on the call. The third thing that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing as far as beliefs are that we believe that civil government leaders who make laws and enact policies have a responsibility to prioritize the safety and security of the citizen, especially the vulnerable that live among us in our communities. So what does that mean? That means that if you're going to pass a law in our legislatures across our lands, or make policy at the school board table, or at any kind of administrative role, then those policies must prioritize first the safety and security of citizens, especially people who are vulnerable. So if you are going to consider, for example, marijuana legislation, which our national government did a few years ago, they didn't exactly hit the mark of prioritizing the safety and security of the citizen, because they actually ignored some of the Health Canada regulations about what kind of a negative impact it would have on people, especially vulnerable people who might be adversely affected by the marijuana consumption or the availability of marijuana in the community. So that's just one example of many, but if you believe that civil government has that responsibility to prioritize the safety and security of citizens, you're in the right place as well. And then finally, the fourth pillar that we rally around here relates to fiscal responsibility, but specifically, we believe that it's inappropriate for civil government to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. So if civil government is spending money today, if they've just got that printing press rolling out the new bills all the time, diluting the value of the bills that are in circulation, and diluting and basically creating indebtedness that our children and future generations are going to have to pay for, well, then that is inappropriate, and we are opposed to that. So if, again, those are the four pillars. If you think that that's kind of a good thing and you're aligned with those ideas, stick around. We just might have a bright future, you and I, and all of the people that we serve on the briefing. So that's one thing. So you are pre-qualified if you're still on the call right now. I'll consider that from here on in. Now, the second thing that I want to do here as far as pre-qualification is something that you can do immediately following this briefing. And I'm going to give you a little tip here. Something that I've discovered is I'm going to request and suggest and encourage you to do something. Now, if you do this something that I actually encourage you to do, then there's a good chance that you and I are going to be in relationship for a long time. Now, if you don't, though, if you don't do this, it's okay that you don't do this. But I'm just telling you, I've seen a lot of people that don't do this one thing, and they end up kind of falling off, and they drift away, and then we fall out of relationships. So this is going to be a relationship building thing that I'm going to ask you to do. And what is that thing? Well, we have provided you on our YouTube channel, there's a playlist called the NLB Essentials. So you're on the National Leadership Briefing. National Leadership Briefing has a YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, there is a playlist, and that playlist has 4 short videos on it. And if you watch all 4 of those videos, and again, when I say short, I mean they're like anywhere from 9 to 15 minutes long. They're not going to take you a long time. And you can even watch them at 1.5 or even 2 times speed, and you can cut that time in half. But if you go on and watch those 4 videos, you are going to have a significant advantage picking up what we're laying down every time we get together on the briefing, which, by the way, is only for 1 hour once a month. We don't get together on a regular basis. We only get together 1 hour once a month, because that's all it takes for you and I to remind ourselves that we're in relationship, that you and I are rallying around the same principles, we're advancing the same principles into the conversations that take place in society, politics and government and culture. And we just then go back about our lives, back into our spheres of influence, doing the things that God has called us to do, where God has placed us to do that work. So 1 hour once a month, if you watch those 4 videos that are on the NLB Essentials playlist, you are going to be so much more effective in the time that you spend with me 1 hour once a month. That's always on the first Friday. That always starts at the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and you and I will always have that opportunity to connect. All right. Also, so watch those videos. I want to drive that home because we want to be in relationship, you and I, if we believe in the same things, that is. So then finally, I just want to make sure that if you're watching this video right now and it's on a YouTube channel, or if it's on a Facebook, some kind of social media platform, and you had it shared with you and you're not registered for future briefings, you've got to take care of that, because if you go to the nlbcanada.ca website, again, that's nlbcanada.ca website, you are going to be able to register to receive not only the links to the future briefings that we have on the first Friday of every month, but if you aren't able to make the briefing on that day, what we do is we email you a copy of the video of the briefing along with all of the resources that we share during the call on that day. So you're going to have an opportunity to see and watch the briefing at your convenience when you have time, if you can't make it on that first Friday of every month. And at the end of your fingertips are going to be all of the things that we offer you in the way of resources, quick guides, speaker notes, whatever it is. You're going to get it all because you're registered for the briefing. So go to nlbcanada.ca and make sure you're registered for the next briefing. All right. So that is what we're going to do today. Is we're going to do the 2 quick things on each of the subject matters that we've talked about recently. I'm going to go fast, but you're going to be able to reference them later if you get the post notes. So don't worry about that. Take down some notes if you want. But before I finish up and we go to a quick break, before we get started with the 2 quick things, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, our partners, the people who support the work that we do, who made it possible for us to leverage such a small amount in the way of physical resources to touch so many people. It's because we're in relationship that I can take your partnership funds and I can put them to such great work that goes so far, because not only what you're doing is you're leveraging your money by investing in this, but you're also leveraging your time by participating in being a part of the solution that we explore out there. That's what we're doing. We're always exploring solutions to some of the challenges that we're seeing in society. So thank you to our partners. If you want to become a partner, of course, we'll always welcome you. All you have to do is you have to just email me and I'll send you a quick link right away, and you will get a link to where you can donate to support the ministry. All right, let's take a quick break and come right back with 2 quick things for a lot of different items, for a lot of different issues. Back in a flash. Thanks so much for your time so far.
In the fall of 2016, a series of surveys went out across the nation to talk to people, centers of influence, people within the churches of Canada, people that were sitting in the pews. Parents were receiving them. Many people in the faith community received these surveys and were asked questions about what they felt were the priorities that we needed to focus on moving forward. We asked them what was important to them in their communities. We asked them about the things that we should be supporting and the things that we should be rejecting in the way of ideas out there. But what was interesting to note was when you looked at all of this information and the data that was collected, all of these expressions of concern could be reduced down into 4 silos, or what have come to be known as pillars. We set aside everything that can divide us. We set aside all of our denominational differences, all of our different political views, all of our different things that could possibly distract us from the things that we unify around. And these are the 4 pillars that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing. First, we rally around a common desire and belief that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. We believe that here on the National Leadership Briefing, that parents in Canada should have the right to raise their children in the same faith tradition, with the same values. They should be able to pass on the things that were passed on to them by their parents freely and without interference from government. So that's the first pillar, that parents should have the right to raise their children the way they want. The second pillar that we rally around on the National Leadership Briefing is that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. And that's for all Canadians. That the people that we actually put in the legislatures and in the House of Commons, they must respect our right of belief and defend it, more importantly, when it's under siege or under attack. We don't want another politician being elected to hold a seat in the House of Commons that refuses to stand up against the barrage of attacks that are coming to people of faith in Canada right now. So they must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. That's the second pillar. Now, the third pillar that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing is that the laws and policies that are passed by those elected representatives must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. It's important to note that because sometimes, especially lately, politicians have been passing laws and they've been actually not taking into consideration the negative health consequences that those laws will have on the citizens. And even worse, they've been passing very serious laws that have actually put people in harm's way. So at the very least, at the very minimum, the very first box that all legislative proposals and all policy must check is the box that holds high the responsibility to keep vulnerable people within our community safe. That's the third pillar. And the fourth pillar that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing is it is inappropriate for civil government to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. So spending money on us, calling it an investment in our children's future, when really what it is, it's excessive taxation that's going to be placed on the backs of our kids when they're born and as they go through their young adult lives. That's inappropriate. That flat out, that is not fiscal policy that we support here on the National Leadership Briefing. Now, I want you to understand something about these four pillars. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe. Now, there's a movement out there in Canada right now, and again, they definitely aren't the majority. They are the vocal minority that believe that your ideas and the things that you hold up as priorities do not have a place. But I can tell you that in our society and in Canada, they do. You're a citizen, you're a constituent, you're a member of the community, you have elected representatives. Those are your ideas and you don't have to justify them, qualify them. They don't even, you know what? An idea doesn't even have to be a good idea to be considered among the mix of ideas that are out there in the government and political landscape. That's the truth of the matter. As citizens, we have the right to put forward ideas. These are the things that we believe in. That is good enough for us. That should be good enough for our elected representatives.
Okay, welcome back. This is fantastic. Let's get started. We're going to be moving quick. As I said, we've got to move quick today because we've got an awful lot to cover. But again, put a pen in your hand if you like. If you're not registered for the briefings and you're not going to get the post notes, then you are going to want to write down a few of these points. I'm going to be referencing dates. I'm going to be giving you email addresses. I'm going to be giving you contact information. You're going to want to have a pen in your hand if, as I say, you don't have the post notes with all the quick links. All right, two quick things. Let's start out with this. We, as the National Leadership Briefing, I and the people that are on the briefing with us, we're attending next year's National Prayer Breakfast and National Leadership Dinner in Ottawa. The dates of the event are April 25th to the 28th. We have extended an invitation to you and all of the people that we serve to attend with us. We're getting together. We're going to have a big, huge team hurrah at the National Prayer Breakfast next year in Ottawa. Now, that's almost a full year away. We've got a long, long road ahead of us before we actually arrive at that moment in time. But what I want you to do, the two quick things I want you to do today is, I want you to be resolved that you're going to be there. Now, the reason I put it like that is because sometimes we say, well, it's a year out. I don't want to make the decision. And, that's a long ways away. We don't do things like that on the briefing. What we do is we say, okay, I see the benefit of us all coming together and seeing each other face to face and reminding us of who it is we are and what we believe and encouraging each other and learning from each other and attending an event like this where we have the opportunity to pray for our nation and engage with others in our community. We see the benefits of that. But we know we want to be there, but then we have all those things that might get in the way. Well, I don't know if we're going to have the money. That's always one that people point to, or I don't know if I'm going to be available. However, if today you made the decision that you were resolved to be there, and that all of those other things would just take care of themselves, the finances, the scheduling, all of those things, then that will help you greatly in actually getting there. And I've committed, by the way, just so you know, to those who are resolved to being there in Ottawa next year at the National Prayer Breakfast and the National Leadership Dinner, I have committed to actually help you find ways over the course of the year to raise money so that you can actually have the money to pay for your flights and hotel and tickets and all of those things to make it possible. So don't let money get in the way, especially. Don't let your schedule get in the way, because if you're resolved to be there, then you put it in your calendar today. So that's what you're going to do, is you're going to put it in your calendar. So you're resolved that you're going to be there, and then you're going to put it in your calendar, and it's going to be there all year long, and you're going to see it. And it's April 25th to 28th. Now, the prayer breakfast and the leadership dinner are on those 2 days in the middle there, but we're going to have other things to do on either sides of those events. So we're going to have other events around that. So I'm encouraging you to fly into Ottawa during the day on the 25th and then depart on the 28th. And then we'll fill your calendar, your schedule up in the middle there. So here are the two quick things again. You're going to be resolved that you're going to be there at the event next year. And then you're going to mark it in your calendar. And part of that mark it in your calendar is emailing me and letting me know that you did it and that you're coming, because I want to put you on my list and make sure that we're all, sitting at the same tables, we're doing the same things, we're going to the same meetings, and we got some special events that we're going to schedule for you as well. Okay, so two quick things about the National Prayer Breakfast, National Leadership Dinner. Okay, at that same time, here's the next two quick things. At that same time in Ottawa, there is something called the Young Christian Leaders Summit. Now, this one, I got to tell you, is for anyone from 19 years of age to 28 years of age who has a keen interest in our nation of Canada and how we manage it and how we govern politically or governmentally. We want people who want to learn about Canada, learn about the government of Canada, learn about the political side of things that are 19 to 28 years of age. We want them to attend that Young Leaders Summit that goes on. You get to meet with ambassadors and members of parliament, and you get special training. You get to go to special tours of the parliament buildings. There's all kind of fantastic reasons to be there. But the two quick things that I want you to do is, if you're a 19 to 28-year-old, of course, I want you to be resolved that you're going to be there. I want you to do the same things I just asked the other people to do from April 25th to April 28th, because that's the same period of time. I want you to be resolved that you're going to be there. I want you to mark it in your calendar, and I want you to actually send me an email and say, I'm going to be at the Young Leaders Summit next year. Now, you might have all sorts of things that we might need to help you out with, like, the finance, all that stuff. But as I said, I'm committed to helping you do it, but put it on your calendar and email me, right? That's what you got to do today. Now, let's say that you're not 19 to 28 years old, but you're at a church that has 19 to 28-year-olds in your church. Your church can actually engage in a conversation over the course of this next year about how is it that we can send our 19 to 28-year-olds from our church to be a part of that summit that goes on in Ottawa. You're going to meet with me. You're going to meet with all kinds of people. Like I say, it's going to be a growth experience for them. And then they're going to bring what is sowed into them back to your church. So if you're not 19 to 28 years old, you need to go to your pastor. These are the two quick things. Go to your pastor, tell them about the event. Tell them that you've got details that are being passed to you from me on the National Leadership Briefing, and then ask your pastor if you can work with him over the course of the year to find ways to get those people at that event during April 25th to 28th. All right? Those are two quick things for all of you. So you got the National Prayer Breakfast, National Leadership Dinner. You've got the Young Leaders Summit if you are 19 to 28 years old. And you've got the Young Leaders Summit if you're not 19 to 28 years old, but you're in a church that has those people in your congregation. Okay? Clear? All right, let's move on to the next one. CAG Ministries. If you're familiar with the National Leadership Briefing, you know something called a CAG Ministry stands for Citizen Action Group Ministries. And what that is a ministry that exists within a local church that is specifically created and designed to lighten the load of the pastor and help them to navigate in the arena of politics and government. Now, the reason why I'm being very specific and saying that it's infrastructure to help the pastor is because what it is not is a political action tool inside of a local church. What it is a properly constructed and designed ministry of the church, just like a kids ministry, just like a elder care ministry, just like, benevolence, whatever, any kind of ministry that you've got. This is just the Citizen Action Group ministry. So what I'm saying is that if you do not have one of those in your church, you need one. You're definitely going to need one on the road ahead. I mean, it is getting so complex out there right now in the political and governmental sphere that pastors are being overwhelmed by what it is that they have to learn and what it is they have to understand and comprehend. And your Citizen Action Group ministry can help lighten the load of your pastor in that area. So if you don't have one, you need one. I'm telling you, you're going to need one if you don't already need one. So what I'm suggesting, the two quick things is first of all, I'm going to be putting a video in the post-briefing notes. It's a video that tells the story from a pastor's perspective of how he put a Citizen Action Group ministry in his church. It's like 6 minutes long, no big deal. So that first thing is I want you to take that video and I want you to give it to your pastor. I want you to forward that video to your pastor, and then I want you to attach also the second thing, the two quick things you do is attach my email address along with my bio, because I'm going to include my bio in the post-briefing notes and say, this guy, Doug Sharp, will help you and me build a Citizen Action Group ministry in this church that will lighten your load and make it easier for you to navigate on the road ahead. Okay, so you're going to take this video and send it to your pastor so they can watch the video. And then you're going to give them my bio and my email address and tell them that I have extended an invitation for them to email me to arrange a meeting so that I can help you guys open a CAG ministry. Okay, that's two quick things, CAG Ministries. Let's move on. The third thing is, if you don't have what's called a community action council within your church, and by the way, you may have it, but it may not be called those things, right? You may have something like this, and that's fine. But because that's what you can call it whatever you want. But if you don't have a group of people within your church that are, say, representatives of the marketplace. Maybe they're marketplace ministry people. Maybe they're intercessory prayers. Maybe they're parents. But they're peoples whose focus is on what is happening in the community and have developed a heart for the people in your broader community. So if you've got people that are in ministry inside your church, dealing with helping the church family, kind of taking care of things in there, that's fine. But I'm talking about the people that are looking outside of the four walls of the church and have a heart for their community. I'm going to give you two quick things to do. First of all, in the links, there are links that are going to be in the post-briefing notes where you're going to be able to link on to a Facebook page that has over a year and a half of training on community transformation. There's all sorts of great videos there of people who have similar hearts for their communities. They've done some incredibly great things. They're all about community transformation, and you're going to be able to watch those videos on that Facebook page, Community Transformation Videos. The second thing that I want you to do, the two quick things, is I want you to get in touch with the person who handles that page and request that you receive invitations to future events, because they have every 2 months, you're going to have a community transformation event, and you're going to have somebody who has a heart for their broader community come on and provide great information for you to help you in your local community. All right. Now, the funny thing is about this invitation for you today, these two quick things is, if you do that, I'm actually going to be the speaker on their next community transformation event that's happening in the beginning of June. So if you're watching this now and you go to the post notes and you register on that community transformation page and get the videos, you're going to get some training from me as well. Okay. So those are the two quick things related to community transformation and your local church. All right. Parents advisory councils. Right now, this is the next issue that we cover. Right now, we have a lot of parents that are under a lot of pressure in society and culture, especially if they have school-age children. They are experiencing things in the broader public education system that are very challenging. We want to help. And one of the ways that we help is we help parents of school-age children form parents advisory councils. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be called, again, a parents advisory council. You can call it whatever you want. But if you have parents in your church and you guys want to gather together, here's the two quick things. Get in touch with a couple of other parents who have school-age children in your church. That's the first thing. Find out if they want to get together on a Zoom call with me, and then send me an email and we will schedule a call. Because what I want to do is I want to be able to provide you with resources that are going to help you as parents navigate. That's what we're doing, is we're equipping you, parents inside churches, to navigate out there. Okay. And I submitted everything that we do in the way of offerings, anything that we offer you. We offer it as suggestions that you can consider among the mix of information that you have out there. It won't break our hearts if you don't take advantage or pick up what we're laying down. It's okay. We're just trying to help lift the burden off of your backs. Like I say, we're coming alongside you. We're sewing things into your orbit that you can kind of use if you can use it, right? Like, just take it if you can use it. But parents of school-age children, those are the two quick things. Gather a few parents together, and then get in touch with me. My email address is in the post notes today and on the screen below. If you can see it on the bottom of the screen there, you can see my email address as well. And then just send me an email and say, I want to schedule a Zoom call. Okay, those are the two items. All right, next issue. Man, we're moving fast. And we will take a break after this particular one, just so I can catch my breath and you can refresh your drink. How's that sound? Okay. All right, marketplace leaders. This is talking to the marketplace leaders within the church. We have identified over the course of the last few briefings for people the aggressive posture that some civil government leaders have taken with the church. And the fact that the church itself, because it exists within a Canada Revenue Agency or charitable status structure, it's actually it's becoming a bit of a target for aggressive elected officials who don't share our worldview. I'm trying to be nice about the way I say this, okay? I'm trying to keep it PC. You know, the audience, the kids might be watching, so I'm being nice. But we've got these people that are elected that don't quite appreciate our right of belief and freedom of religion to the degree we want them to. And we've got the church inside of this charitable status structure, and it's kind of creating a bit of a target of it's an easily targeted structure. Let me put it that way. So we have encouraged marketplace leaders from within the church who want to engage with me, encourage them to get in touch with me so that we can talk about ways that you can finance ministries of the church from outside of the church by building businesses and corporate structures to fund ministry work that would normally be paid for from within the church. You could say that one day maybe we may not have a charitable status structure around our churches, and we may need these corporate models, these corporate structures that spin off profit to pay for our food programs and our and clothing programs and the things that we do in the community. So this is what I'm saying to the two quick things is that if you have not already gotten in touch with me and you are a marketplace leader in the church, please find out if your pastor is interested in exploring this, like this idea about creating a corporate structure or some type of business outside of the church to help pay for the ministry work of the church outside the church. You don't necessarily have to take the money from inside the church to pay for your feeding programs or your food programs. Why couldn't you just put your food program outside the structure and then develop a business around it too? So if you have marketplace leaders from within your church that want to engage in a conversation with me about that, all you got to do is identify them, get them together, and then get in touch with me. That's the second thing, and schedule a Zoom call. And then you and I'll get together on a Zoom call. All right? That's marketplace leaders. All right, we're going to take a quick break right now. Just fill up your glasses, and then we're going to come right back, and we're going to finish with our two quick things list that we've got today. We got a few more items to go, so hang in there with me, and the best is yet to come.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.
Okay, we're back. All right. This is fun. Like, I love it. Two quick things. One of my favorite things to do. All right. Let's keep moving. For those of you who are on the briefing last time, we actually got off on what might have been totally unfamiliar ground for a lot of you. I get it. Sometimes we got to explore new things. Sometimes it's awkward. It's kind of hard, not really manageable in our hands. It's not easy. We gotta start stretching our minds a bit. Well, one of those subjects were the introduction. I wanted to introduce you to a conversation about blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. And I actually gave everyone a little bit of an exercise to do about Googling, just simply Googling a couple of questions about what is blockchain technology? What is a cryptocurrency? Those things. So you could start out nice and easy, right? So you could just kind of start opening the door to your mind to find out a little bit about it. Well, today I'm going to give you two quick things that I want you to do in addition to that. So again, if you haven't already sort of introduced yourself to this question of what are these things, then what I want you to do is I want you to still do that. I want you to still kind of Google it. Now, don't do anything with the information, okay? Because one of the challenges whenever we start talking about these types of subject, this type of subject matter is don't run out. If you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, don't run out there and start doing stuff until you actually have gathered a little. So in other words, if I didn't tell you to do it, like I'm recommending you don't go out and do stuff. Don't go out there and just start wandering around in the minefield that is cryptocurrencies right now. But what I am saying, if you work with me, allow me to kind kind of lead you through the process of exploring it. I'm going to keep you safe, and you're not you're not going to be in a position where you're going to get people are going to start taking advantage of you, because there is a predatory environment that is created around the subject matter online. So I'm going to keep you safe, but I can't keep you from running out ahead into the minefield. That if you decide you're going to do it, I got no control over that. But please be safe. So this is what I want you to do. Go Google those things. But then I'm also going to put a link. This is the two quick things. The first thing is I'm going to put a link of a trusted source of information as to where it is, where you can find a YouTube channel of somebody who I think explains things pretty simply and kind of can walk you through it and kind of answer some of your questions. And you can search an archive of free videos. They got all kinds of videos there. But again, the temptation might be for you, once you open up the door into going to these types of videos, you're going to maybe start getting recommendations from other people like, hey, check this video. Hey, check that video out. I'm only going to be recommending you to go to one source for now. Okay. So if you, again, there are predators out there that will try and prey on you if you open yourself up inside of the on the internet to this type of material. It's not anything that is going to harm you if you don't wander around and do what they say, because some people have ulterior motives. I simply want you to open up your mind to this. So you're going to go to that one source. I'm going to give you one guy to check out. And it actually goes by the handle Crypto Dad. And he's actually kind of like a dad. He's a dad, and he's got kids, and he just kind of helps people out, and he doesn't sell anything, and he just has videos, and he just answers questions. So you'll get used to listening to the kind of conversation. But the second thing I want you to do is I want you to then I'm going to give you a task, and I want you to find any information you can about taking possession of a cryptocurrency. So how do I possess a cryptocurrency? I want you to see if you can find the answer to that question out there. And again, hold it up against what Crypto Dad is saying. Maybe that's your source. Like, check in with Crypto Dad, because he probably has videos on. As a matter of fact, I know he does, but you'll find out. But I want you to start exploring this, because we're going to be talking more about this into the future. And here's the reason why. Is because when we look out on the horizon, we see a time where governments that are, again, don't share your views and value, are going to be working a plan to keep you from possessing anything in your own name. You've heard that phrase, you'll own nothing and be happy. Well, that's not just a cliche term. There are people that are actively working every day to keep you or make you or put you in a position where you taking possession and owning anything becomes impossible without their control and or permission. So the cryptocurrency conversation that we're on is exploring the way that you can take possession of resources and assets and value separate and apart from the control of anyone else. And if we walk slowly on this road together and you don't step out into the minefield, it's actually going to be kind of an interesting conversation for you. So I'm just saying, let's explore it. Do those two quick things. Go to that website, Crypto Dad, and then explore the answer to the question is, how do I possess cryptocurrencies? That's the second thing I want you to look at. All right. Isn't it strange we're talking about these things on the briefing? But you know what? There's a reason why we're doing it. We're looking out on the horizon. It may not seem relevant to you now, but it's going to be relevant to you in the future, is why I'm encouraging you to do that today. All right. Another issue. This is the next two quick things is we're exploring another very kind of seems like a crazy thing that we have to talk about on the briefing. But in this day and age, we now do have to talk about this. And the subject matter is referring to aliens. Okay, can you believe I just said that? All right. We have got all kinds of things that are coming out in the future here that are going to be specifically designed, released, and deployed to confuse the people that you love and care about on the issue of alien life. They're going to disclose things that are going to be presented to you as true. However, the things that we know to be true exist in that book and that book alone, right? This is the truth, right? So what we're doing is I'm providing you with resources so that you can actually not be fooled, or the people around you won't be fooled by the deception that they're about to unleash on you with regard to alien life. Okay? Because we're going to look at the issue of aliens, so-called aliens, through the lens of the Bible. Now, I've provided the people on the briefing already a resource that was gifted to me by a good friend, the author, and it's a digital copy of an introduction to his work on this issue. It's called Omega Deceptions. So in the post-briefing notes, the first thing I want you to do is, if you haven't already read that copy of that, I want you to read it. It's a short enough read that you can get through it. It's called Omega Deception. It's by Robbie Cressman. And that's the first thing I want you to do, is I want you to read that thing. And again, it's not selling you aliens. It's keeping your mind protected from believing that there are things that are outside of God's creation, that God did not create. Because that's the way it's going to be presented is, oh, this is extra terrestrial. This is outside of creation. No. Nothing exists outside of God's creation. So we're not going to be fooled. We're actually going to read this thing. The second thing is I want you to make sure, this is the second quick thing on the issue of aliens. The second thing is I want you to make sure you're registered for the National Leadership Briefing, because I'm going to dedicate an entire briefing to this subject matter. This is how concerned I am about this, and you should be too, because there is a full-on psychological operation that is going to be unleashed on our society by people, again, who do not share our worldview, to confuse us and deceive us into believing that there are these things happening and coming in from other galaxies and extraterrestrial beings and all that. So we're not going to be fooled, because we're going to be prepared. All right. So those are the two quick things. Read Omega Deception. The link is in the post-briefing notes. And the second thing is make sure you're registered for the briefing so that you can attend the exclusive briefing that I'm going to do with Robbie Cressman about this particular issue, this matter. All right, great. Let's move on. Next thing. All right, Albertans. You want to be on Team Alberta right now if you are an Albertan. And Team Alberta is what we are forming here on the National Leadership Briefing. Right now, Alberta is so important to the future of our nation. So I'm just talking for now, I'm just talking to the constituents in Alberta. I'm talking to the people who live at a residential address, who have a postal code in Alberta as their residential address. And I'm telling you that we need to be in relationship, you and I. We need to come together in Alberta, because it is key that we are all on the same page moving forward in the immediate future. And I said immediate future. I'm talking about right now. Don't hesitate. The two quick things that you got to do if you're an Albertan is you've got to send an email to me. Again, there's the email address, president@familyaction.ca. You need to send an email to me confirming that you are an Albertan and you are on the briefing. And in that email, the second thing I want you to do is make sure you give me your postal code, so that I know where it is that roughly you reside. You don't have to give me your whole address, and just give me your postal code, and make sure that I have your email address, because you're sending me an email, so that you and I can start connecting on the issue of why it is that Alberta is so key on the road ahead to not only Alberta's future, but also the future of our nation. All right. So that is Team Alberta. And those are the two quick things. All right. Next thing, if you are a constituent anywhere in Canada and you have a Conservative member of Parliament, we have two quick things for you to do. If you've been on the briefing before, you know that we are working a strategy where we're getting a little bit tired of them not picking up what we want to see laid down at election time, which is we want to see platform planks and election promises to do with protecting life in the womb. We want to see real strong talk and promises at election time from our Conservative members of Parliament about euthanasia and protecting vulnerable people that live in our communities. We also want to see the gender confusion craziness that is being sold to children with and the availability of radical sex surgeries and hormones and all the things that are being the poisons that are being given to the kids, we want that as an election platform plank issue at election time. So we're sending a message to our Conservative members of Parliament and saying, you know what? We're not going along. We're not going along with you and the Conservative Party of Canada during the next election. However, we're willing to negotiate for our support. So we're withdrawing our support from the Conservative Party. But if you want to get it back, let's talk. So here are the two quick things. If you are a constituent living in a riding that has a Conservative member of Parliament, no matter who they are, we want you to get in touch with that member of Parliament. First, you got to find the member of Parliament. Find out who your member of Parliament is. And I'm going to give you a quick link. All you got to do is, actually, I'll give you the tip right now if you don't even want to do this. If you want to find out who your member of Parliament is, just Google Find My MP. Find My M as in member, P as in Parliament. Find My MP in the Google, and then you enter your postal code on the page that's provided, and it provides you with the information of who your member of Parliament is. And if that's a Conservative member of Parliament, their contact information is right there. Send them an email and just in the subject line, put I'm out. I'm out. And then in the body of the email, say, hey, I want to see at election time, election platform promises for life, protecting life. I want to see like the euthanasia legislation, and I'm going to provide you in the post-briefing notes a list of the things that you can pick from that you might want to ask for. But you're in a negotiation with your Conservative member of Parliament for their support from here on in. Constituents of any electoral district that has a Conservative member of Parliament. Those are your two things. All right? All right. Let's get to the church here. We're going to finish up with this. All right. We're on the home stretch and we'll run out of time. There you go. How about that? It went by fast. If you have a pastor or a church leader in your church, this is a real quick one here. It's real simple. I'm again going to be including my bio in the post-briefing notes. It's going to tell you all about my political history, my Christian political history. It's also going to give you a bunch of links and examples of me doing teachings, trainings, whatever. It's kind of it's a two-pager. It's something you can easily email to your pastor. And what I want you to do, the two quick things is I want you to take that bio and I want you to email it to your pastor. Okay? Take my bio and email it to your church leader. And the second thing I want you to do is I want you to let your pastor know that I'm extending an invitation for them at any time that if they ever have any questions to do with politics or government here in Canada, that I am like a 1-800 hotline number. I do this all the time for church leaders. Sometimes I just get a pastor who will call me and go, Doug, I just had a quick question about this. And I go, great, let me tell you the answer. And if I don't have the answer, I go find the answer for them. But I'm there to lighten their load. So I want you to take my political bio first and email it to your pastor. And then the second thing is I want you to let them know about my invitation for them to call me at any time, email me at any time. If they have questions, if they want me to come in and help out, if they want to, whatever they want, I'm happy to do it. And we don't charge churches. We don't charge churches at all. We're supported by people who believe that you need a guy like me on your side inside politics and government in Canada. So that's what I do. People donate money to our organization because they want me to help your pastor. So let them know that, let them know that. And that is the two quick things if you have a church leader or a pastor. By the way, hey, if you're Catholic and you have a priest, happy to help. If you're Jewish and you have a rabbi, happy to help, right? So let's expand the borders a bit. Okay. Next thing real quick. If you have elderly people in your church and you are not actively helping them to understand the issue of euthanasia, I just want to tell you that out there right now, again, there are predators who are preying upon vulnerable elderly people in communities. All right. And your family, your church family, you may think, oh, well, we're not vulnerable for that at all. But just in case you didn't know this, I actually get contacted kind of regularly now from pastors who just one day they just find out that Bill's not coming to church anymore, or what happened to Mary? And all of a sudden you find out later that they actually out of the blue chose a euthanasia death. And so there's a conversation that needs to be held at some point inside of the church, not with me, but inside your own church, as to whether or not you want to develop some sort of a strategy to help protect seniors from falling into that euthanasia trap that is being formed out there. So the two quick things is that if you don't already have any information about what is possible in the way of like helping to protect your seniors, then you want to get the permission of your pastor and then say, can I help secure some information, and can we open a dialogue? And then you send me an email, and then I send you some information. And then you can, hey, if you want me to have a conversation with you as well, be happy to do with it. But I'm going to refer you to the resources that you're going to need if you want to help to protect the elderly people within your church. Okay? How's that sound? That sound pretty good? All right. You know what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to leave it at that. We've covered an awful lot of ground today. I'm pretty excited about two quick things because it's kind of like the thing that rolls us forward into the next part of the year. We got a lot of things on the go right now. And remember, if you rally around the 4 pillars, if you say to yourself, look, I believe in these principles that undergird those 4 pillars: parental authority, right of belief, freedom of religion, protecting the vulnerable, not heaping debt on the backs of our children and future generations. If you do those things, and if you watch the NLB Essentials videos, and if you start jumping on these action items as we roll them out of the National Leadership Briefing, you're going to be surprised at what we can accomplish as the National Leadership Briefing together. And again, when we have those opportunities to come together in person, wow, the National Prayer Breakfast next year, all of us getting together, coming to our nation's capital, praying for our government leaders, exercising our authority to gather, our right to assemble, and then rallying around things like, hey, how about life in the womb? Why don't we make that a priority next year and talk about how important it is to protect babies in the womb as we all come together and celebrate life in our nation's capital? I'm just kicking that out there. We've got lots of opportunities and lots of time to prepare, so we can create a pretty exciting agenda for us when we do gather. But for today, we're going to call that it. We're actually going to take a break now. We're going to take a break for another month, but get those two quick things going and start actually, and get in touch with me. If you get jammed up, you can always get in touch with me, email me and go, Doug, I can't quite figure this one out or whatever. I'm happy to help. And you know that I'm on your side. I'm in the political and governmental sphere, but I serve the church, and you have the church in you, as you know. So, all right, thanks so much for your time for today. Until next time, please know that I am going to continue to pray for you. I'm going to continue to pray for your family. And I'm, of course, going to continue to pray for this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.